This week's Changeville podcast is the Warped Tour edition. Changeville's co-director Jennifer Vito is currently on the Warped Tour, performing as a part of a number of projects, including War on Women and her Jenarchy project. And while on tour, she sat down with Shawna Potter of War on Women and Kira-Lynn Ferderber, as well as Lavis, who are the coordinators of Safer Scenes 2017. This particular interview is something special, and in it we learn about the work of a number of different activists involved in creating safer environments for all members of the music ecosystem, bands, attendees, venues, and we even learn some of how we can actually take these techniques and apply them to our own concert-going experiences. So sit back and enjoy this interview with Shawna, Kira-Lynn, and Autumn.
Okay, I'm here with Shawna from War on Women and Kira-Lynn and Autumn from Safer Scenes.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for doing the Changeville podcast.
Thanks for having us.
All right. So, Shawna, what social change issues do you address in your songs?
Well, the beautiful thing about feminism is that it basically applies to every single social justice issue. Women are affected in unique ways, no matter what you're talking about. So, but I can also only write so many songs, and not every song can be about everything that's ever happened. So, mostly right now, we play songs about reproductive justice, rape culture, street harassment, the gender wage gap, and the first band I was ever in, and the girl that wanted to be in a band with me back in 9th grade.
Aw.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of good ones. So what kind of social change work do you do in your life and at home?
I work with Hollaback mostly. I started the Baltimore chapter of Hollaback, and it's just a worldwide network of activists that have chapters in their hometowns that are all about anti-street harassment work. So raising awareness, but also collecting stories and serving as kind of an outlet for people that experience street harassment. So what I've been doing lately, I kind of passed off the day-to-day running of Hollaback to some other folks so I could concentrate on the band.
Because you're on tour right now.
I'm on tour a lot the last couple of years, which is great, but it made answering emails about doing events really hard. I couldn't table at everything because I was gone all the time. So what I've been doing lately is just teaching local venues how to be safer spaces and what they should do when they encounter someone that says, hey, I was harassed here, hey, I was groped here, what do they specifically do to be victim-centered instead of just shrugging and going, what do you want me to do about it? Which is what a lot of people were doing before I started talking to them, so.
Nice. Well, like you say, everything is a feminist issue. You're into animal rights and veganism,
yeah.
Is that right? So what's your diet like at home, and how do you keep that on the road?
Yeah, at home we grocery shop vegan other than honey. And so I find that as long as it's not in my house, I, for the most part, can't eat it because I make very little money and I'm on food stamps, so I don't eat out at places, cafes, restaurants. I don't really do that. So when I do, if I don't have something that's 100% vegan, I don't feel as bad about it because it happens so infrequently. And, on the road, it's just a lot of Taco Bell, minus the cheese and sour cream. We're on Warped Tour right now, which I've never experienced catering like this on such a grand scale every day. So they have plenty of vegans on the tour, and so having a vegan meal every day is not difficult at all, and it's really, really cool. I'd say only recently did I find out that maybe honey isn't as harm-free as we thought. I've started seeing videos where, they're putting honeycombs through some sort of conveyor to sort of scrape the top honey off of it. And of course, bees are attracted to their own honey, and bees are getting stuck in this sharp scraping thing and dying because they just, it's like their honey. They just want to stay nearby. So certain machines, certain ways of extracting honey is actually very, very not cool, and it's super cruel. And so the key is to find a place that makes honey in a way that doesn't harm the bees, and I need to do more research on that. because I admit I'm not a total expert, but I'm always learning. There's always something new to learn.
Oh, cool. How do you apply feminist issues and issues of equality and that kind of work to your personal, like you're a tour manager, you lead an organization like Hollaback, you have a song about transphobia. Do you find that you apply that stuff to the other work that you do? Like, Hollaback is not a transphobic organization.
Right. I mean, it's always, like, I'm super privileged. I'm white, I'm able-bodied, I'm cisgender, and I'm straight. So I have a lot to learn. It's an uphill battle all the time, right? So I'm not perfect, but I'm always striving towards intersectionality and keeping things in mind, no matter what I'm doing. And kind of only the last year or so did I start realizing that, and I think this applies to a lot of people in the scene, actually, activist scenes, like, you can be a real champion, a really loud, I'm a social justice warrior or whatever, but you might treat people in your life like shit, like the people you actually know and have relationships with, and there's a huge disconnect, and it's kind of a different thing, a different journey, a different task to bring those social justice issues into your personal life and apply them with your everyday relationships. And that's something I've been working on the last couple of years. Like, to lead a truly non-violent life, it starts with you, and then those immediately around you, and then outward from there. But it's pretty, it's a lot of work for me. I'm an only child.
You're also
very
a
spoiled.
boss, right? You're a girl boss.
Yeah.
You want to give a shout out to your company at home?
Yeah. Well, I run Big Crunch Amp Repair, so I like to say that I'm a tech and I'm also a manager.
Nice. So you fix amps and guitars and stuff?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, absolutely.
That's impressive. Okay, what are some of your favorite bands to listen to that inspire you or that have a social change component?
Number one, Jenarchy is probably my favorite band that I've ever heard in my life. This band called Microwave that I just discovered on this tour. Diane Thor. No, I mean, lately I've been enjoying all the bands we're playing with, just trying to catch people's sets, and I haven't really been rocking an iPod lately because I hear so much music every day on this tour, but Beyonce and Gojira and Refused and Gloss and Desark.
We've seen you sing a couple songs with Anti-Flag.
Oh yeah, I know some Doc for Your Government, that's for sure.
Cool.
Yeah,
so we're on the Vans Warped Tour with War on Women and also partnering with Safer Scenes 2017. Kira-Lynn, you train festival staff when you're back home. Can you tell us about your Safer Scenes 2017 initiative on Warped Tour and what it entails?
Yeah, so we're on every day of Warped Tour across the U.S., which is really exciting for me because most of my work has been centered around Canada. So I'm getting to go from coast to coast in America, talking to fans, but also bands and staff about bystander intervention. So basically we're asking people if they see something at Warped Tour or at another venue or festival or party or anywhere in their life that doesn't look right to them, someone who's being targeted with sexual harassment or violence, or who might be vulnerable to sexual violence, that they do something about it. So what we're doing on Warped Tour is giving people workshops and handouts and conversation and information about what safe, effective bystander intervention looks like.
And can you explain bystander intervention?
Yeah, so unfortunately in big crowds, sometimes when someone's in trouble, the people standing around feel like they don't have to do anything to help them because someone else will take care of it because there's so many people around. And so that's why that's one of the reasons sexual violence happens in spaces like music festivals. But these festivals have the potential to be really safe spaces because there's thousands of people around that can help you if you're in trouble, but they have to actually help you when you're in trouble. So we're asking people to overcome that feeling that someone else will take care of it. We're asking them to do something, and something that is safe, like finding that person's friends or inviting those people that are in trouble to come walk away with them and their friends, or letting security know. Because what we're learning is people's only tools are ignoring it or starting a big fight or calling the cops. And we're hoping people will learn ways to intervene when they see violence that doesn't escalate the violence or add more.
Using tools like distraction, or so maybe you don't have to actually go up and super involve yourself in the situation and punch someone and be a hero. There's other tools that are much easier to use.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of guys every day at our table on Warped Tour saying, well, if I saw somebody in trouble, I wouldn't let that happen. And if a guy was hurting a girl, I'd run up and punch him out. And the problem with that, as the only idea you have, is you might never do it, and you're definitely only going to do it if you're sure about what you're seeing. So distraction, like you mentioned, works really well, because what we're hearing is in a festival context, people see things and they're not 100% sure what's going on. So they could see, for example, a young woman and wonder, like, was she drugged? Is she really, really drunk? Is that guy helping her get somewhere safe, or is he trying to harm her? And so starting a fight isn't the right move in that situation. It's walking up, starting a conversation, asking her directly if she's okay, asking him directly if he knows her, or something like starting a conversation about the music, or asking where the beer tent is, or asking if they like the band, to just distract the person, give them a second to step away from the situation if they want, let them know there's someone nearby, that you're there, you're talking to them, you're looking at them, and if they need help, they can talk to you.
Awesome. So I hear you're also a Canadian rapper. Is that true?
Yeah, I am known in some parts as the mayor of Ottawa, because that's the town that I run.
Is that your rap name, Mayor of Ottawa?
It's my rap name and my vision board for my running for political office. Yeah, I make a little bit of Canadian hip-hop. I don't know how different it is from American hip-hop, but I think it's good.
Cool, that's really fun. That's a fun fact. Autumn, you're also in the Safer Scenes 2017 initiative. You have a lot of experience with tours and festivals. What issues have you seen, and what kind of work do you do surrounding those issues?
Yeah, so some of the issues that I run by, that I focus on primarily, are underrepresentation in music, particularly women and more marginalized groups of people, women of color, queer women, trans women. So I think it's really important to make space for these people. The music industry is a very male-dominated industry. And like with that comes a lot of problems. Some of the issues that I've run into on this tour have been, marginalized groups of people not feeling safe. Women who deliberately don't crowd surf, they're afraid of getting groped. Men who come to our tent who just don't understand that these issues even exist because they're not affected as much. So explaining to them, what they can do to help with their privilege. Another thing that I would focus on is festivals and like people in this industry and what they can do. So like not booking bands that are abusers and making sure to put women and women of color on the lineup. I think that's a really great start. I think that everyone in this industry, whether you're a fan or a promoter or a person in a band, like you have a role to play on making it safer for other people. And so I think acknowledging that these issues do exist and making an effort to combat them is pertinent.
Is there like a shared database or a place where you can find information on what bands or artists have been abusers or have violent tendencies or?
Yeah, so there is actually a blacklist that is an open like Google Doc that goes around and is shared primarily through industry people. I don't know how I would get them in touch with that because it's like a link.
Right, it's kind of an underground thing shared with the other professionals in the industry.
So
it's just good to know that exists.
we do communicate with each other. If it's brought to my awareness that there's a band that is transphobic or has abused people or just uses their platform, to abuse others, I bring that to like my friends in different markets who promote shows and book shows, and then they automatically, no questions asked, will not work with them.
So we can bring that information to people like you, and you can help spread that around to the people in the industry.
I think it's up to everyone to hold people accountable for what they do, because when you continue to book people who aren't good people, that kind of validates what they do, and you're giving them a platform to hurt others and to continue that cycle of abuse.
You also Autumn, you also put out a music compilation for charity on the tour. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
I did. So it's running through a project called Bands Take a Stand, which started last February. And to help raise money for the Safer Scenes project, this year I put a bunch of reached out to a ton of bands, and they agreed to lend us their art, and we created a comp of 20 bands, Warren Women and Jenarchy being on there, and people can buy that for $5, and it goes towards, giving us literature to pass out to people, educational resources, that sort of thing. So it's a really great way to get accessible, cheap music for a good cause.
Great. Well, it's just been so much fun for me being on this Warped Tour with War on Women and Safer Scenes. And anyone, what's your favorite part about us all being on tour together in this big crazy Warped Tour?
Oh man.
I really like the fact that everyone on our bus is like part of our feminist team. And we don't have a couple like randos that we don't know what's up with their politics, or they're like aggro dude bros or something renting out bunks. Like I was actually really, really happy to sort of make sure that we get Safer Scenes and us on the same bus, and because I feel like we're a crew, like it's nice to have a place away from all, it sounds terrible, but it's like when you're just surrounded by men all the time, like it's nice to just come back to a space where there's just less of that. And I'm sure men feel that way. If they were surrounded by women 24/7, they would want to be around it. Like people want to be around, you want to check in with the people that are like you to make sure like, okay, these are my people, whatever. Like that's totally understandable. It's just that men aren't often around women 24/7. Everyone is always around dudes all the time, so it's a nice break.
Everyone just wants to be around women. Right?
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, I'd much rather be going through challenges with this group than anyone else. Like, I'd much rather you hang your wet towel on my towel than anyone else.
For me, it's been a real adventure of learning a lot about punk and rock music. My background is really in hip hop and rap, but I really see punk and hip hop as coming out of similar anti-oppression ideas, and at their best being really anti-establishment, calling out police brutality, calling out racism, calling out government corruption. And I don't have as much of a background in punk, but it's been interesting to see how it overlaps with hip-hop and how it's different. And I've really felt embraced by a lot of the bands on the tour. And like Anti-Flag came out to one of our bystander intervention workshops. Bad Cop has been like really repping hard for us. There's been some great women bands like Doll Skin that I got to meet who were amazing and supportive and put our pro-choice punk sticker on their instruments. So it's been really interesting for me to learn about what's happening in the US, what's happening in punk, post-punk music right now, and what it's like to just try and talk to a bunch of rock and roll electric guitar guys about ending sexual violence in their shows.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I think it's really refreshing for me to just be on a tour where I'm not the only woman. This is my first experience where I haven't been the only woman, and it's awesome. Like I think I second what Shawna said, just being around people with similar ideals, and I think that sense of community is super important, and like also the other bands on the tour, like creating like allyships with them, and them coming and collaborating with our projects. We had Silent Planet sell one of their t-shirts and contribute some of the proceeds to Safer Scenes. Anti-Flag shouting us out on stage. Just like that sense of community, I think, has been the best. And then also the conversations and the connections that we make with people at our table are the most important thing to me.
That's really great. Well, thanks so much. My favorite part is that we're doing this interview in a very tiny bathroom because it's the only place that's not loud on Warped Tour. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us. You're all super amazing people, and it's great to work with you.
Thanks, Jenarchy.
Thanks.
Thank you so much to our guests, Shawna, Kira-Lynn, and Autumn. To learn more about War on Women, you can find them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and Safer Scenes 2017 is on Instagram and Twitter. While you're at it, find Jenarchy on all these social media platforms as well. As for Changeville, we have our early bird tickets open until August 1st. These tickets are the cheapest they'll be all year, so jump on it while it's hot. Changeville is guaranteed to be amazing in 2018. We'll be back soon with another episode of the Changeville podcast. Until then, this is Brandon, signing off.